When is it too windy to ride your motorcycle? Catch you inside.
RevelatorAlf.
Hello, welcome to RevelatorAlf. Hope you're enjoying the channel and the series of videos. Please like, share, subscribe. Leave your comments below. Check out the website RevelatorAlf.com and the links in the description too. So in this video I'm talking about high winds, riding in high winds. When is it too windy for you to ride your motorcycle? Well, I suppose the simple answer to that is, well, it really depends on you, what your own personal limitations are. There aren't actually any limitations on a motorcycle. Many people would argue that if you've got a really big motorcycle that's also heavy, well, either the wind will catch it a little bit quicker, a little bit more, but if it's heavier, then it's less likely to be blown off course, as it were. If you've got a really light motorcycle, there's more chance of it being blown off course. If you've got a sports bike type motorcycle, then the airflow is going to flow over it a lot more. There's less surface area to a certain degree. It's more aerodynamic, therefore it's going to be more stable in the airflow. The problem is, a lot of this is all fine and dandy on paper, but in real world riding, actually this doesn't make a lot of difference. The biggest things that you've got to be concerned about is not necessarily the speed of the wind, how strong the wind is, but it's actually whether it's turbulent and whether it's going to come across your way as opposed to directly head on. Yes, head on wind can be challenging, it could cause a lot of buffeting, it could also sap a lot of energy as well. The same with a high tailwind as well, especially if you can make you a little bit unstable, especially if it starts to gust a little bit. But by far the biggest challenge for any rider is having a very strong crosswind, but also a wind that is gusting. That is a sudden change in speed and direction. Then it can be suddenly very windy, and then it's also very calm. Very windy, very calm. That can actually make the bike veer off course, make the rider lose control as well. What things should you avoid? Well, if you can avoid going out in really high winds, when we're talking 40, 50, 60 miles an hour winds, that's probably a good idea. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't go out in these winds, but obviously it's going to be really challenging for you. If you're an inexperienced rider, that's possibly not the best weather to go out in. If you're an experienced rider, then possibly it is. All I would say is that many people would advise you not to go practice in high winds. I would actually say no, what you need to do is practice in high winds. Not necessarily extremely high winds, but certainly if it's a windy day, 20, 30 mile an hour winds, for example, then go out and ride in it. Get used to riding in winds, because there will be a day where you get caught out by the weather. It could be rain, it could be high winds, whatever it is. Never forget, if the wind gets too strong for you, you can always pull over and just wait out the wind, wait out the storm, whatever it is. You don't have to continue riding in any weather that makes you feel uncomfortable or lacking confidence in being able to deal with it. Does it make a difference what type of motorcycle you're riding? You know, whether you're riding a Harley Davidson, a big heavy Harley Davidson, cruiser, whatever it is, or you know, a sports bike. Actually, no, it doesn't. Not really. Heavier bikes are generally going to be more stable on the road. They're less likely to be displaced. But the heavier the bike, usually the bigger surface area, so there's more wind to catch on it. It really depends. The best advice really is, whatever motorcycle you're riding, is to slow down. And also never overestimate your own ability to be able to deal with it, and always be expecting the worst kind of wind, the biggest gust. You need to be prepared for that kind of ride. You need to be prepared for the challenges of that ride. However, holding on to the grips, you know, white knuckle style, that's not good either. You need to be quite loose, quite relaxed on the bike as well, and accept minor fluctuations in your ride, deviations in your ride path, you know, according to the wind. try not to fight it too much. However, obviously, if it blows you off course, then you need to get back on course whichever way you can. Be especially aware of crosswinds. You may have to lean into the wind a little bit. You may have to peg weight a little bit, in that you put a bit of weight on the one side of the bike to actually lean into the wind a little bit. Give yourself a bit more center of mass towards the wind. That will affect you. That will counteract the wind and the gust a little bit. Avoid trying to ride right next to big buildings, let's say, where it's really windy. Not only that you might have flying debris that might hit you, but also there's going to be swirling wind around buildings. Now, when I say around a building, try to give it a bit of a wide berth if you're going past a big building, especially if it's an isolated building where the wind, and it's in the wind flow. There also, the wind can go around the building, and that can actually blow you off course or produce a wind that you weren't expecting. The same can be said if you're actually going to be riding past a big truck, something like that on the highway. Try to give that a wide berth, because the truck is going to be unstable in the high winds as well. It might even topple over, but also it's going to be generating its own turbulence as well. There are lots of things that you can do to assist you in counteracting the wind. But to say, fundamentally, you've got to know your own limitations. You've got to reduce your speed and never be too gung-ho to continue riding in weather that actually isn't going to be good for you. What you need to do is just analyze the weather that you're riding in, and then pull over if you need to. But there isn't actually a wind limitation on any motorcycle. You just keep on riding to your own limitations and your own comfort level. Now, one of the reasons I made this video was a couple of questions that actually came in on the website from a couple of you about winter riding, and also riding in high winds. And this reminded me of an article which I wrote many years ago about riding in high winds. But then I started doing a bit of an online research for the video, and I was surprised at the amount of misinformation out there that you can find, where people are saying don't ride in greater than 20-mile-an-hour winds, don't do this, you shouldn't do that, you know, stick your leg out, as if that's going to make a lot of difference. As I say, it all sounds good on paper, but if you're doing things based upon what you read, as opposed to going out there and getting worthwhile experience, then you may be onto a bit of a sticky wicket. As I say, you know, try and build up some experience out there. Look where the wind is coming from. You may have to lean into the wind, distribute your weight into the wind, have loose controls, be comfortable on the bike, accept any deviations that the wind is causing. Try to get back on course, slow your speed down, avoid, wherever possible, riding too close to big buildings or to big lorries, trucks on the highway, and be always aware of the verges. If there are any gaps in big hedges or high ground that all of a sudden wind can cut through, that's something that you have to be aware of as well. Okay, well, I hope this helps. I say it doesn't matter whether you're riding a Harley Davidson, BMW, a Ducati, a Triumph, or whatever it is, a Kawasaki, doesn't matter. The principle is the same here. Okay, hope you found that useful. Please like, share, subscribe. Leave your comments below. Check out the website, RevelatorAlf.com, and the links in the description below, and I'll catch you on the next video. Ta-da.
RevelatorAlf.